Hey guys, let's talk about last night's episode of Scandal. Right off the bat, let's talk about Olivia and her mother and Fitz. And let's just talk about Olivia in general. I mean, she really has been extremely vulnerable and broken this season so far. I mean, we've seen some moments of that kind of Olivia Pope strength. But for the most part, we've seen, like, on the edge Olivia. I mean, come on, the woman drunk-dialed her own dad in tonight's episode. And we just get that she's on edge. She's drinking a lot. Obviously, with the cliffhanger from last week, we get why the drinking is happening. So one of the big questions is, did Fitz kill Olivia's mother? So many of you commented on my review from last week that you thought that Olivia's mom was still alive, which I think is genius. And after watching this week, I'm feeling like we are going to be seeing Mama Pope very, very soon. I don't really know what to think about Operation Remington, so I feel like I'm going to hold my opinions about that until we get the full story. So let's talk about Olivia, you guys, right? Because I really struggled with her quite a lot in this episode. And I was trying to figure out why. I really think part of that has to do with the fact that I'm not fully invested in her backstory yet. You know, we've just learned about how her mother died. In this episode, we got a few flashbacks of Mama Pope, which was really interesting. And I feel like the more I learn about that, the more invested I become in that story, the more I'll kind of care about it. And I think the more I'll start to understand Olivia's reactions. She was just so weepy and whiny in this episode. It was just a lot. And like, especially in the scene when she like marches to the White House and demands that Fitz give her answers about Operation Remington. During that scene, she says something to him like, "Are you lying? Are you lying to me?" To which he instantly responds with, "Like you lied about Defiance?" And I was like, yeah, what he said. I get that she's really probably shaken by the news that it's possible that the man she loves killed her mother, and I should probably cut her some slack. But I don't know what it was about it, you guys. It just kind of drove me a little batty. So I'm hoping that the more we learn about Operation Remington and the more that Olivia kind of gets her wits about her, the better that will be. Let's talk about Sally Langston, who tried to put her like double-crossing plan into play. We get that she wants to run for president. She wants to run against Fitz as an independent. And so her and her new campaign manager try this kind of like political type of move. Her plan totally backfires, and it turns out that Cyrus was behind it all along. Okay, you guys, let's talk about Quinn, who is slowly but surely approaching Edison status in my head. I mean, she needs to get it together because she has been on my last nerve, as my grandmother would say. She has been working my last nerve for the past, like, I don't know, for a while now. So she got a gun. And we all know that's not going to end well, right? And sure enough, she's at the gun range practicing her shooting. And who should show up but Charlie? By the end of the episode, we pretty much get that she is being recruited by B613. That Olivia's dad, with his evil self, is trying to recruit her. And Quinn is so kind of naive. But at the same time, part of me wonders if she's not all that naive, you know, because she asks Huck that question about B613, like if you can do that and be okay, or if everybody's just screwed up. And I was thinking to myself, like, why is she asking him that question? I know that her character is like searching for identity, but this is not the place to find it. So I'm gonna hope that sometime soon someone realizes what she's doing before she gets used like as a pawn, because I think that's what Olivia's dad wants to do with her. Speaking of OPA, let's talk about Harrison, you guys. Now, besides Olivia, Harrison is the other character that I think we have been lacking backstory on. I'm sensing after tonight's episode that backstory is coming, and it is coming quickly. So Cyrus calls Harrison because Cyrus wants Olivia to stop working for Josie Marcus. And Cyrus doesn't just call to say, "Hey Harrison, can you do me a solid?" No, Cyrus calls to threaten. So when Harrison is like, "Look, I can't make Olivia Pope do anything," Cyrus is like, "Oh, okay. Well, it would be a shame if your old friend Adnan Salif got back into the country." And instantly we see this look of fear come over Harrison's face. And as the episode progresses, we get that he's really scared of this guy. He pretty much tells Huck, if this guy gets back into the country, I'm a dead man. Part of me wonders if Harrison didn't like testify against this guy or something. I'm pretty excited to figure it out and to learn more about Harrison's backstory. We got a little of the Josie Marcus story in this episode as well. Olivia decides to take the job working for her instead of for Fitz, because obviously she thinks that Fitz killed her mother. And there were some interesting moments, you know, as Olivia really kind of takes this small town politician and teaches her what she needs to do if she wants to try to be president of the United States. The name of this episode was Icarus. It's a mythological story about a kid with some wings that are made of wax, and he flies too close to the sun, even though they told him, don't get too close to the sun because the wings will melt. And he does it anyway, and he ends up like drowning in the ocean or something like that. Icarus is such a representation for so many of the characters in Scandal. I mean, immediately Quinn comes to mind when I think of that. Quinn is that kid who you keep telling, don't put your hand on the stove because it's hot. Don't put your hand on the stove because it's hot. And then what do? They put their hand on the stove and they burn their hand. And then you're like, I told you not to do it, but you did it anyway. And she's not alone, you guys. I mean, there are so many characters on this show who are doing things that are just extremely destructive and that are going to lead them no place good. It was a good episode, you know, nothing earth-shattering. It feels to me like they are really kind of building the story, like we're building towards something. And, you know, with Scandal, I'm always excited to get there. I really do appreciate you guys watching and commenting. I absolutely love hashing it out with you guys in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe because I do Scandal reviews every single week. And yeah, I'll see you guys again soon. Bye.